Hey everyone, it's Maximilian, and as one of you guys pointed out, I kind of forgot to talk about the whole technical glitch Mew thing, whatever, or at least the programming part of it. But just a quick little tidbit here: if you guys just aren't satisfied with having one Mew in your party, here's how you get another one. Believe it or not, there are two Mews you can get in Cerulean City, and it can really give you a jump start. Actually, this one I'm going to show you a rather funky glitch, and this actually has to do a lot with the programming aspect of it and why it works from a programming standpoint. What we're going to do here is we're going to battle the swimmer in Misty's gym and just kill the horsey. That's irrelevant. But then once we get to Shelter, I'm going to level grind it like normal. However, when I'm attacking with Pikachu, I'm going to use Growl over and over again until I no longer can. One of the things about the battle system is that there's a variable which keeps track of temporary changes to stats, one of which is the attack stat. So I'm using Pikachu's Growl attack to lower Shelter's attack stat, which decreases this variable value by 1 every time I use Growl. Now at a certain point, Growl doesn't do anything. That's because by default, that variable stat starts at 7. You can use Growl up to 6 times before it doesn't do anything. At that point it hits 1. It can't go any lower than 1. And if you're going to use something to increase the attack like Swords Dance, it can't go any higher than 13. So you can only use it 6 times. Now if you'll notice, when you get a Mew, or any other Pokemon with a Mew glitch, it always starts at level 7. That's because the level of the Pokemon you encounter is determined by that temporary attack stat, that variable that's used for battling. So if that remains unchanged for the last Pokemon you fought before you encounter the wild Pokemon, it will stay at 7. However, in this case, since I decrease his attack 6 times, the variable should be at 1, which is what this level Mew is. Level 1 Pokemon are actually impossible to encounter in the first through third generation games, I believe, because they didn't actually fix this until sometime later. I can't remember which version, but it was one of the ones well after Game Boy Advance. And that's because experience was determined using integers. Now, if you guys know anything about programming, you'll know that integers have a certain range before they hit their maximum. Experience is calculated using something called an unsigned integer, which is basically an integer value. In other words, not decimal or fraction; it's a whole number. But it has neither. It has only a positive sign. It can't be negative. That's what it means to be unsigned. Now, a signed integer has basically half the range of an unsigned integer. However, it can be represented as either positive or negative. So, what happens is, if you do have a level 1 Pokemon, you'll note that it has an abnormally high amount of experience. I'm going to show you this right here. I saved the game just to show you. Here's the Mew. Now you'll notice that it has 7 million, or actually 700,000 experience points. Now that is far more than any level 100 Pokemon will ever have. That's because when level 1 Pokemon actually has an amount of experience points represented by the integer value of negative 54. Now when that happens, because experience is calculated using an unsigned integer, unsigned integers can't represent a negative number. So what happens is you get something called integer overflow, and that number actually represents its true binary value and not taking the sign into account. So what you're actually getting is the maximum value that unsigned integer could possibly hold minus 54. So it's a very, very big number. Now if you give it a rare candy, it gives it the exact amount of experience to increase its level to the next one. So since I gave it a rare candy and made it a valid level 2, you'll notice that it now only has 9 experience points, and it needed 63 to level up. So negative 54 plus 63 will give you 9 total. Now this is what happens when you give it less than 54 experience points. In other words, if you increase its experience by some given amount, but you don't give it enough to get it to level 2, it'll actually overflow itself to level 100. The reason that works is because when you increase its experience, whenever you increase a Pokemon's experience, it always checks to see if it would grow a level. Now, since you're only adding 11 experience points like I did there, you're still in the negative number, but due to the unsigned integer that is used to keep track of experience, it still stays as that astronomically large number. And every Pokemon has a set value of experience that it has to reach for each level. Now, since Mew has umpteen million, however many experience points, he automatically jumps to level 100. Now, he doesn't learn any new moves because you have to hit the exact level to learn the move in the original versions. However, he has all the stats that a level 100 Pokemon would have. So that's how you can actually level any Pokemon you catch up to 100 instantly without rare candies, using an experience overflow trick. I'm not going to use the level 100 Mew in the game. I just figured, that might be something cool for you guys to see. But I guess if you really wanted me to, I could break it out at some time. I'm not going to use it to beat Misty here. I got my other Mew out of the Pokebox. Not Pokebox. The Pokemon storage system from the Pokemon Center. But I'm going to use this Mew glitch to get, or at least show you how to get any wild Pokemon in the game. Like you can set up a wild encounter with anything from, say, a Bulbasaur or a Charizard or a Dragonite, whatever. Because while they're variable for the temporary attack bonus or decrement is used to calculate the level of the wild Pokemon you encounter, the special stat of the last Pokemon you fought, you know how there's 4 stats of a Pokemon: attack, defense, speed, and special. That stat of the defending Pokemon you just killed is what's used to determine the type of Pokemon that you'll encounter. And that is actually referencing the Hex database that I was talking about a couple of episodes ago back when we were in Mount Moon. So, for instance, Mew is actually number 21 in the database, so it's represented by a Hex value of 1-5. So, if you get a Pokemon or battle a trainer that has a Pokemon with a special stat of 21, then the Pokemon you encounter will be Mew, which means it's possible to get more than one. However, it is possible to manipulate this by battling a wild Ditto, because you don't necessarily have to battle a trainer in order to trip the Mew glitch. You can battle a wild Pokemon, and it will take that wild Pokemon's special stat. Now, whenever a Ditto uses Transform, or any other Pokemon uses Transform for that matter, it will not only copy all the moves that the Pokemon has, but it also copies each of its stats, which includes its special. So in theory, if you battle a wild Ditto, and it transforms your Pokemon, which has a special stat of whatever you want it to be, that Ditto will have that special stat, and then when you kill it, you'll be able to control which Pokemon from the database you pull up in a wild encounter. So I'm going to try to use that to get several Pokemon from this game, and it's also going to be able to help me complete my Catch-em-all without trading, because some Pokemon require trading for an evolution, and also some Pokemon aren't normally available in the wild in Blue version. I think there's about 15 of them that you can't normally get. And also you have to consider that you can only choose one of the 3 starter Pokemon, so there's a good 6 Pokemon right there that you can't have access to. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do in the future. However, in order to do the manipulation, I need the Fly HM in order to do that, because you have to be able to fly to an area where there are wild Dittos, because after you walk a certain amount of time or move into different areas, that's when the menu pops up and you trip the wild battle. So it takes a bit of careful preparation and manipulation, but it is nonetheless possible. Or so I've read. Now I'm going to just proceed through this house right here and beat the Rocket Trader to get the Dig TM. I figured I didn't really have a whole lot of content for this episode when I cut some stuff out, so I added on a couple more minutes here. Sorry it's not as long as the other ones. But that's basically how the Mew glitch works from a programming standpoint. Sorry if I confused you guys all with that computer science terminology. This is just commonplace to me. But if any of you guys would like me to go into more detail on that, or possibly give you a slightly more layman explanation, let me know, and I'll try posting a comment or like a rather lengthy message in the description, basically explaining step by step how and why that works. So yeah, that is how you get Mew. How you get 2 Mews, actually. I know some of you have said, well, I've already played through the game and gotten past both of those trainers in Cerulean City and beaten them. Is there any hope for me? The answer is yes. As long as you have not battled some trainer in the game, in theory, you should be able to get a Mew. I'm going to try getting a 3rd Mew using the Ditto glitch, but at the moment, we're not quite there yet. It's probably going to be about another 10 episodes or so, at least. I'm just giving a rough estimate, throwing a number out there. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but it's going to be a while. So you're just going to have to be patient on that. So now we are pulling away from all the super funky glitches of Pokemon, and we are getting back to the actual gameplay. After we get here through Cerulean City, we have the ability to use Cut, but we don't have Cut yet. So we need to go down to Vermilion City in the SS Anne and get that. So that's our next stop on our little Pokemon trek. Afterwards, we will go to Lavender Town after we go through Vermilion City by way of the Dark Cave, and then to Celadon City, at which time we will be able to get the Fly HM. So that kind of gives you an idea of how long it's going to be before we can actually attempt this glitch again. And as far as I know, I don't plan on attempting any more glitches in the game until then. I actually don't really think there are any that I can attempt, or at least the ones that are worth attempting. Because the majority of glitches in this game will actually make the game freeze and do all kinds of crazy stuff, quite possibly corrupt the save file, so I really don't want to mess with that. But I know for a fact that the Mew glitches are safe, so that's what I'm experimenting with. Oh, I did learn one thing, though. If you do plan on catching a level 1 Mew, make sure you have room in your party to catch it directly into your party and not a Pokebox, or the Pokemon storage system. Because if you try to withdraw a level 1 Pokemon from the Pokemon storage system, the game will crash. So make sure that you plan accordingly for that. I actually had that happen to me when I was experimenting with this. Fortunately, I saved the game several times in this episode, so it wasn't much of a problem for me. Alright, we actually got Kadabra now out of our Abra, which is going to be one of the more solid contenders in our team, and now we're going to work on Magikarp. So I will see you guys next time as we work our way to Vermilion City.